me, it's interesting that specifically you titled your blog post about communication shifts that senior leaders might not be in love with or senior leaders might not be ready for. And it's interesting to me. I would love to see a lot more senior leaders getting input from other generations. And that's not just younger, right? So I believe that everybody should have a mentor that's older than them, and everybody should have a mentor that's younger than them. And I think there's value there. And it's not just, let's get together a group of teenagers to decide how we're going to decorate the youth room. Like, I think we really have to be having real life conversations. And again, that comes back to where we started about how do we create these conversations. So what practical ways do you see to create conversations?
Well, I think we have to bring senior leaders and communicators into the room together to make real decisions about what we're doing. Not that we need communication leaders making all those decisions, because most of us don't want to do that, but we have insights and help. And I think senior leaders need to pay attention to data instead of how they feel or stories they heard recently, and really pay attention to that kind of thing. And really champion what communicators can bring to the table there, because it is one of the few things I think that can honestly help you really grow a ministry of people who are coming to know Christ, because it's so noisy and you need to cut through it and it's really hard to do.
Right.
But I think first that we really have to accept that our culture is digitally minded. And if that's not your space, I know that can be really scary, but I think, warn people about things that are out there, sure, but create a strategy for what we are in, not for what we wish we were in. And I think that's a huge mind shift that's way easier said than done. And that goes for all of us. I think we also have to incorporate digital spaces into our ministry mindset. Like we said earlier, I think that's a huge step. We have to say, that's ministry. What are we doing there to reach people? Instead of, how are we getting in front of more people? Or how are we reaching 10,000 mark for Instagram so we can have a swipe up link deal in stories? Who cares about that? If that helps you reach more people, great. But if it doesn't, who cares?
Right.
The other thing I think is that, and this is a call for senior leaders, honestly, because the average age of most senior pastors is 52, 54, somewhere in there. And I know that when we start talking about this sort of thing, if your eyes don't cross, most of you don't really care. It's not part of what you've done for so long, and you haven't needed it before. So why need it now? But honestly, you need it now. And I know that's scary. It's like you have to learn a new thing, but the thing is, you don't have to learn it. You just have to get with people around you that do know it and let them guide you through it. And I think this is where we have to lead from a place of humility as a senior leader, and say that this 20-something that I've hired just to, fart around on social media, as far as I thought, now they're a big part of the strategy of our church. So if they say the best way to reach new people is put out this crazy looking meme on Instagram, I need to trust them with that a little bit.
Right.
And I need to let them do that. That doesn't look perfect like I want it to. It doesn't represent us well, but it works. And that's what we're really after. We're trying to do stuff that gets people engaged. I think no matter how old you are, I think you can really engage in this stuff by allowing the people that God has put around you to do what God has gifted them best to do. I like to say this all the time with leadership. It's one of my things with leading other teams, is that leadership doesn't mean you make all the decisions. It means you make sure all the decisions are made. And that has a lot to do with being able to delegate and organize best people in best slots. Because sometimes I think we think because we're the senior leader, because we're the pastor, because we're over this department, that I have to make all these decisions. And if I didn't put my stamp on it, it's not okay. And that's not always true. In fact, It's very seldom true. I think Andy Stanley would echo that, which is probably where I got that. But the point is that with senior leaders, I think the conversation has to be initiated by you, because communication leaders are middle management. And for us to go to you and say, I think we could be doing a lot of things better, is really hard for us to say without sounding like we're criticizing you.
Right.
And that's not what we're trying to do. Again, bring it all the way back. We care about the same thing you do.
Right.
Just as much as you do. We just get there a different way and want to be part of it in a different way. And I think when you have both of those, I guess, sides of the coin really, really going, you get a much stronger ministry that does more actual good than you would if we're just doing one thing and doing that well. I think you've got people around you for a purpose, so use them.